Hey folks, Roger Bain from Bain Custom Woodworking. Hope everyone's having a great day today. Today we're going to look at a project that I've been working on and materials that I use from a company. So let me flip around the camera and we'll take a look at what we're looking at here. So hold right on. Okay, so what we're looking at here is a very large countertop. So this is going to go on an island and it's pretty big. It's a good 8 feet long, and it is 5 feet wide, which is wider than most tables that I've built. I think, honestly, this is the largest project I've taken on as far as width-wise. And it's pretty heavy. It's about 1.5 inches thick. But what I really want to show you today is right here. So these are my seat channels. So when I build a table, normally I would take these ends and I would put breadboards on them, and that would suffice for expansion and for movement. But because this is going to be on an island, we really didn't want to put breadboards on it. So I turned to Bidwell Wood and Iron, and they are the ones that I purchased my C channel from. And so as you can see, these are pretty wide. These are 48-inch C channels. I'm leaving them about 4 or 5 inches from each side to give the expansion. Now I use these instead of the breadboards. So I've put these in. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to flip over. I've already recorded some of my install processes for these, and you'll see maybe some different angles from it. But I wanted you to see the island before I even got started. Let's back up here and take a look at what we're looking at. It's pretty big. It's pretty heavy, pretty big. So we're going to flip over now, and we're going to go back to the recordings that I've done some other days, and I did it over a couple-day process. I'm going to do a voiceover, so I'm going to try and stay in track with the recordings as best as I possibly can. But I wanted to introduce you to the project before we get started. The C channel from Bidwell, and you'll see their logo throughout the process and some of the tools that I use to do this work. And for some folks have asked questions, why do I use C channel? I use it strictly because to replace my breadboards for movement. When this table or this countertop goes into a house, as the weather changes, this wood will change as well. It'll move, it'll expand, it'll contract, and we don't want this thing cracking or popping in the middle of the night on someone. So after that introduction, we're back actually at the videos where I was doing the work, and what we're starting here with is setting the channel depth for the L version or the leg version of the C channel. And as you can see here, I use my Craig track saw tracks for my straight edge. Works great, allows me to set both sides at the same time and get them done. And I can set the router at that depth and just continue to move on through that. And as you can see, I am using a DeWalt plunge router for this. It allows me to set the depth and do what I want to with it and not have an issue with it, and make sure that I've got both sides done. And if you look at this table really close, you saw there are 2 sets of C channels, so it allows me to do both sides same depth without an issue. And then I change the bit to a larger straight cutting bit, and then I'm going to router out the center of this channel. And what this does is it routers out about, I don't know, less than 1/4 of an inch deep, if I remember correctly. And that allows the actual body of the C channel to sit down level and flat with the table or whatever you're working on, so that it doesn't rock when you set it on the legs or on the countertop. And with that, so here I am, I'm testing it. I want to make sure that it's going to work. And sure enough, and if it doesn't, I can come back, I can clean it up, I can do whatever I need to. Make sure you clean out those channels really well before you do that, so that you get so you don't have any sawdust inside. So then what I'm doing now is I've set my drill bit to drill the depth of my Rampa, R-A-M-P-A inserts, and I get those from Bidwell also. I set these, and I'm going to set them in, and what I'm going to use is some Starbond medium thick high performance CA glue. So after I've cleaned out my sawdust once again, let's make sure that that the surface and material that you're working with is clean. Test my C-channel and see those slots in there. I want to make sure that where I drilled all of these insert holes are pretty much in the center of all the slots, and I'm also very, very careful to make sure when I pick where I'm going to drill, I try not to drill where the seams come together for two pieces of wood. And these are multiple pieces of wood, so 60 inches across. I think I have 15 pieces going across. I want to make sure that I miss all these seams. And I put mine in by hand, and I use a socket set. I find it the easiest way. I know some people use their impact drivers, some people use drills. I use my socket wrench. It's easier for me. I can control it better, and in they go. So I get them all in. I use a CA glue so it sets up and they don't turn at all when I put the screws in. Get them all set. Yep, see a big old fat hand gets in the way, but you can see how they go in here. Get them in, and they go in very easily. I get them in. And then what I do, again, I want to make sure that I set my C-channel, make sure I test everything. And I've got an awl that I use to make sure that I square up all of the screws. Get all those screws put in for them. I'm going to set them all, and then I'll come through and I'll tighten them. And I won't tighten them down so tight that they can't move. The goal of the C-channel, remember, is to allow the table and the wood to expand or contract where it needed to. Use my Allen wrench, I'll put them in, and again, I use an Allen wrench and do it by hand so I can control it. I want to feel what that screw's doing. I want to make sure that I know where it's going. I don't want it too tight, don't want it too loose. I want it just right so that I can be accurate with this. So we're going to get all these screws in, and then we're going to get it done, and we're going to get it wrapped up, and we're going to get this ready to go and get it set. So we're all in, and I will hand it back over to myself. Hey folks, that's about it. That's a wrap-up of what I do for my C-channel. And again, I use Bidwell Wood and Iron. I use their C-channel. Check them out. They have multiple products. Not only do they have multiple sizes of the C-channel depending on the thickness and the size of the material that you're working with, they also have a wood oil that is really, really good. Their atomic finishes are great. But also, I referenced Starbond glue in this video. Please check them out. I use Starbond for a number of different things. Starbond's great for filling cracks. I get a lot of my lumber from the lumber mill, so it's a little rough, so I have to mill it, and there's knots or there might be some small cracks or imperfections in the wood. It provides great character for every product that I'm working on, so I use Starbond to fill those gaps so I don't have to mix a lot of epoxy and that type of thing. Works very well, takes a good finish, and it really seals things up for me. Something else I did not reference in the video is the router bit that I use. I use a lot of white side router bits. I believe I order them from Amazon. When I do that, they have some really great router bits, especially for what I'm doing with this purpose with the C-channel. So check them out as well. I really appreciate everyone listening to this video. If you have not subscribed to my Instagram account, please do that. I have kind of gotten a little slow with that with the amount of work that I have, but I have full means of getting back and working on my Instagram account. Obviously, if you are listening to this YouTube video, I do hope that you stop and subscribe to that video. And if you have any comments, please let me know. I'd be more than happy to answer those. We also have a website. I'll reference that on the bottom, Bain Custom Woodworking as well. And we keep that up. And my wife keeps up my Facebook page for me. So there's a lot of items that she will put on, progress of projects and that type of thing on Facebook. So if you have any questions, please feel free to contact me, reach out to me. You can either do it through my email address, baincustomwoodworking@gmail.com, or you can comment right here on this video or any of the other videos that I have here on YouTube. So again, thanks everyone. I appreciate your time. And as always, keep making sawdust.